Welcome to the Hey Ducks podcast with your host, Jill Allen. I am excited to welcome Mandy Huber, the mind behind Orthodox Pro, to the show. Today, we are covering how key features like digital fee presentation technology, payment sliders, and e-signatures are transforming orthodontic practices. We'll also discuss the evolution of digital workflows and share practical tips for integrating these innovative tools effectively. Hey docs, let's talk about SmileSuite, because it's not just another scheduling system. It's a game changer in the world of new patient management. And as a proud SmileSuite partner, I've witnessed the incredible impact it has on practices of all sizes. SmileSuite means your new patient calls and web leads are expertly handled 7 days a week, even during nights and weekends. And they offer top-notch customizable presentation software and seamless post-consultation follow-up. It's like having a secret weapon for your practice's success. Curious? Dive into the revolution at GetSmileSuite.com. And don't forget to mention Hey Docs to unlock some extra goodies. Elevate your practice with SmileSuite, because every smile deserves a suite of excellence. Mandy, welcome to Hey Docs. I am so glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. I'm very thrilled for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So one of the things I love doing when I have guests on the show, I'm sure you know this already, but I love for them to take an opportunity just to quickly tell us a little bit about themselves, about their company. So would you do that for us today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I live in the Midwest. I'm married to my college sweetheart. We've got two beautiful girls. And back when I was going to college, I worked at an orthodontic office and worked there for several years. I loved that job. Coworkers were awesome. It was fun getting to know the patients a little bit. And the atmosphere was just, it didn't really feel like work. I loved it. So while I was there, then I'm studying software development at college. And then at the job, I would be next to the office manager and I would hear her frustrations as she's entering contracts on the occasion that she would encounter some sort of math error. It wasn't infrequent.
Yes.
And
No, it was not.
it wasn't. And I get it, because it wasn't the fault of the TC. They literally had a calculator and they're doing things on the spot in front of the patient. And they know that the patient, based on what they tell them, is going to make a decision, yes or no, on treatment. So totally understandable, but I knew there had to be a better way to do it. And I just had a simple spreadsheet idea that we could encapsulate those formulas and put them into the spreadsheet so that they enter a few fees, discounts, insurance, coverage, et cetera, and it'll just spit out all the math for them. So she really liked the idea. I developed this simple spreadsheet again, and it just pulled that data into a payment option sheet, a contract, and they had all that generated for them. Mm-hmm. Pretty soon, the whole practice, all 6 offices, they were using the spreadsheet. And spreadsheets are great. They're awesome, but there are drawbacks. And there were a whole bunch of different versions of this thing hanging out there. And the doctors would want fees updated, or maybe like a tweak in the wording or something. And then different offices or different TCs in that office, they'd be using like an outdated one. So there was no way to like regulate the version. And every once in a while, a formula would get deleted on somebody's computer or a whole paragraph or something. So it just wasn't very maintainable. So my husband, actually, he's an entrepreneurial spirit. I am not. He's rubbed off on me, I think. And so he had this idea, man, we could really elevate this whole spreadsheet idea. And that's where it came from. We felt strongly enough about it. He quit his full-time software development gig and jumped into it and spent the next year developing it and kicked off the very basic version, I think 2017. And then I shortly followed him, and we've been improving and going on ever since. Yeah. But that's the backstory.
Wonderful. I love that. And it's been really fun to watch your progression, because I think we first met at that AAO in
I think so.
2017, 2018. Yeah. And so it's been it's been really fun to watch you and your company grow and to see the impact that I think you guys have really having on our industry. And I can say, having done this for quite a while and being and still using, like still having that basic Excel spreadsheet for my docs that are just like, Jill, I don't know if I can afford to pay for anything yet. I know those trials of the Excel sheet, they work,
Right.
and they're definitely better than a handwritten sheet. But oh my gosh, Orthodox Pro is for sure the platform that I love. So let's talk a little bit about that, because you and I, we've got a lot of mutual clients, and I always love it when my clients are able to jump on and get started with you guys, because I know that some of those issues that we see with math errors. And I think one of the big ones is you've got all of these insurance companies and all of these discounts that you have to give. And not only are you trying to think about where did the discounts come in, and does my TC, does she have the bandwidth to do all of these calculations really quickly, like you said. So let's talk about how we're able to take these tools that you guys have and really make it this amazing software, and how that's impacting offices, because you have even more exposure. Obviously, it's your company on that end of it, but you get to hear these great stories of how the software has really been helping offices.
Yeah, there's three main things. First one just being digitizing the forms. Nobody anymore wants to wait for a new patient packet to come in the mail. And offices, of course, don't want to have to pay to mail them or print them. So just digitizing the forms and having them available to either email, text, have a link on their website, that's huge. But it doesn't have to stop there. So then there's having actual electronic forms where it's not just a flat form. They don't have to print it and scan it or take a photo afterwards. Literally, they can direct their patients to their website or send them a personalized message, and then the link's in there, and all they have to do, whatever kind of device they're on, they can go in there and they can actually fill out that information online, be it a laptop or tablet or even mobile. So that's huge. And then e-signatures themselves, some people are hesitant to use them, but my doctor, all of my, primaries, like that's what I use now. And they have you sign online and it's secure. And what happens whenever you submit that form is it gets locked down, which is, for legal purposes, that's essential, because then you can say not only the office, but the patient, neither one can then tamper with, modify the form after it's been submitted. And so you've got that, just for legal purposes, you've got that to stand on. But then the other really big thing is those payment sliders. So actually, that was something that you guys had suggested to us way back when, that, hey, you need the ability for them to send this home to patients, because they leave the office and they might be walking away with a hard copy or even a digital version, but being able to actually use the sliders and play around with those numbers, maybe with somebody who couldn't attend the appointment, or maybe just when they've got all their financials in front of them and they can really dig into, okay, what can I afford to do? I think one thing that's huge for offices with those payment sliders is just the fact that the TC doesn't have to use that word no, because the sliders are there and the rules are just built into them. So it's not the TC saying, oh no, we can't go down that low for a down payment, or we can't extend for 5 years. It's the sliders simply won't let them do that. And so it takes the onus off of the TC and kind of lessens the pressure a little bit with those tricky financial discussions, if you will.
Yeah. And that is something that I have definitely loved. Again, you guys have got so many great, I'll say suites, different products within Orthodox Pro, but that slider has definitely, I think, been a huge tool that many of my offices, like you were saying, just being able to say, hey, we don't want to let finances get in the way. You get home, talk to dad. You guys can use this slider here, figure out what down payment is going to work for you, figure out what monthly payment you want. And they can do that from the comfort of their own home if they
Right.
aren't ready to make that decision in the office. And I know, being a consultant, we've got about a 50% chance when a patient leaves our office for them to actually come back and start again. And I think tools like a slider, tools like being able to accept treatment at the exact perfect down payment and monthly payment
Right.
really, I believe, increase our chances for taking that 50% chance that they're going to start and increasing that, because it's really meeting, I believe, the patients where they're at without us having to get in that messy area of nobody wants to talk about finances.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it just
So
helps to streamline. It just
yeah,
helps
no,
to
go ahead.
streamline the communication between the office and the patient. They're not emailing back and forth. They're not texting back and forth. The software is just, once they've accepted that treatment, then it just notifies the office that, hey, they've made their decision, and they can actually go ahead and electronically sign all of that paperwork then, so that they just come in and get banded. They don't have to come in and then they're given this stack of papers or even
Yeah.
the tablet to go ahead and
Yeah.
sign stuff. They just do it there after they've accepted treatment. And so it just, again, making it a little bit more convenient for them.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even know if you realize this, but a product like yours has really even impacted the way we design offices. And when I'm working with doctors and we're looking at, okay, how do we make the most out of our 1,500 square foot space? Or how do we make the most out of our 2,000 square foot space? One of the things that we are no longer doing is necessarily putting in these big financial offices anymore, because we now have this wonderful opportunity. And that's just in general, our industry moving forward just electronically and digital and really trying to embrace that. But just the mere thought that we don't have to dedicate an office anymore to bringing the patients in and sitting them down, like you said, with this packet of information and having them sign everything, where instead we just send it home with them. They sign everything. They come in, or we're not waiting to get started in our clinic anymore because, oh, they haven't paid their down. They haven't signed their HIPAA form, whatever it is that used to impact us. So I just want to, you may not
That's
know that,
interesting.
but
Think
we
about
are,
it from that side.
yeah, we nowadays, when we're designing an ortho office, we aren't even planning for financial offices anymore. And
Wow.
I believe that technology like you guys have is somewhat of a direct result of that, which then in turn just means that gives us more room in our offices when we're designing
Right.
for our money making areas, our
Yeah.
treatment coordinating rooms, change out that financial office for another consult room, because we make the money with the patients coming in
Absolutely.
and allowing them to easily get started in treatment. So I just thought I'd give you a little insight
I
on
love
that,
hearing
because
that.
it's fun to see that progression. And having done this for a while, it's fun to see even how little changes that we don't think affect things can really make a big difference in bigger picture and the impact of orthodontics in the future.
That's great.
So I'm curious, as you look at orthodontics and the future, and you see it from your perspective on the financial side, are you seeing different ways that practices are starting to, really embrace Orthodox Pro, or, how this is impacting their digital workflows in any way?
Yeah, there are several things. One of them, Orthodox Pro just used to generate stuff, and that was it. You had to print
Mm-hmm.
it, get it signed still. So it's moving to, or already has moved really, to more of a forms management.
Mm-hmm.
Everything can be centrally located for that patient. Anything they need to sign during treatment before they ever come in, that whole intake workflow during the consult, of course, the payment options and starting treatment forms. But then even after that, they need to get an extraction or they choose to do whitening, any of those extra consent forms, D-band forms, anything really, we go ahead and digitize for them, and it's all housed in that patient's chart, if you will. in Orthodox Pro. So that's definitely one thing, moving to where it's more of a forms manager than just a form generator. But then also what forms get signed. I never used to see a social media consent form, and now they all have them. Photo release and social media release are huge now. They're always part of the treatment start packet because marketing is huge. That's what drives those referrals and gets more people into the office. But then also like virtual consults, you actually spoke about that last month, and people are moving in that direction, definitely. I think it all kickstarted from COVID, but they're doing it in a more sophisticated approach. They're not just thrown into it. They've had time to plan a little bit. And a lot of people, they use Orthodox Pro to help facilitate that. They have their web conference, they do a screen share, and they can walk them through those numbers and all the payment plans while talking and seeing what is conducive for that patient. Or just they're going to start treatment and they don't want to come into the office to do that paperwork, but you still need to touch on a few main key points with them, make sure they don't have any questions, that kind of thing. All that can be done digitally, remotely. So that definitely helps as well. You had mentioned like organizing the office where you don't have that consult room. Most people now with Orthodox Pro, they're just using a tablet for that entire consult. They might still have their laptop and their PC, but when the new patient steps foot in the door, it's all with the tablet. They create the treatment plan on that thing. It's nice, lightweight, portable. They can just put it in the patient's hands, let them go ahead and play around with the slider. And if they decide to go ahead and start, then they can sign everything on it too. So that's definitely a switch that we've seen as well. One other thing though, the payment plans themselves that people are presenting, I've seen a little bit of change too. Internal financing, like that one where you tack on an extra percentage or amount in exchange for a lower down payment, or maybe they're going to push out the payments longer than what they normally would. That used to be a big thing, and now it's fallen by the wayside, and you do whatever you can to meet their needs financially so that they can go ahead and actually accept treatment. They do still have the opportunity to go with bank or credit card. So a lot of doctors are now building in credit card fees into if you choose you want to pay by credit card, that's fine. Those processing fees, those are rising, and attaching that to the actual payment plan so they know upfront that, oh, okay, I can choose to pay by bank and then it's going to be this flat fee here, or I'm going to go ahead and I'll be paying for the processing fee. This is what it is. So it's all just very upfront and clear, concise for them so they can make the best decision for themselves.
And I think that's one of the things I love so much about Orthodox Pro is that it does allow offices to be very transparent with their fee presentation. And I think fortunately for you guys, unfortunately for a lot of our softwares and even other, I'll say slider companies at some point, there just isn't this level of customization that you guys have. And that's something that I have 100% always appreciated is we can, like you said, I advocate for my offices to pass on that processing fee, even if it's just a 3%. Great. You want to put it on a credit card? We all know you're probably paying maybe 5%. Maybe you're going to split that difference in the office. Just being able to recoup a little bit of that processing fee and being able to simply add that right into our fee presentation. So it isn't this, oh, but you said my payment was going to be this and now you're going to charge me this. Like it can be all up front, very transparent. And again, like you said, we're letting the patients make that decision. And that's another thing that I talk a lot about with my offices is any decision that a patient makes that gets them to yes is the best one, because we all don't know their own financials, and it shouldn't be up to us to decide, hey, don't use that credit card. You're going to pay an extra 3% on that. Who cares? Let them use the credit card. If that works in their budget, great. Use the credit card, pay in full, do the ACH, whatever it takes. Extend those payments out a little bit and maybe have a little extra that you pay. But if that works for the patient, perfect. Let them go.
Completely agree. Financials are never something that you want them to say, oh, I didn't know about that, or I didn't understand that.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
touchy subject.
Yeah, for sure. And then I also just really love the fact that, I have come from the era of paper in our ortho offices. And, it's so much fun now to be working with startups and knowing that we have barely any, if or no paper at all. And just to know that you don't have to use all these different softwares. If we run everything through you guys, they can upload whatever forms we need to have. So it isn't, oh, you can
Right.
only have the contract and the consent e-signed. We can, like you said, you can add what you want and really make this a hub for all things that, that we need to keep track of, which is, again, just such a great tool for our ortho offices. And I think just helps us continue to be more and more efficient, as I think efficiency is the
Right.
word
It's a
of,
buzzword.
yeah, exactly, of the year or whatnot. And I think when we look at that in our digital processes, and we look at that, because sometimes we think, oh, it's just digital, just means clinical. But if we think about it from our front office and say, okay, how does not touching all these things or having all of our tools in one area, how much more efficient does that help our front office team be? Does that help our treatment coordinator be? Does that help our financial coordinator be? I think, again, it really plays into us being just really good offices going into the future. So I'm curious, what are some concerns that, or obstacles maybe you've had offices as they've decided to, okay, I think I'm going to move away from my tried and true spreadsheet that I really don't love, or my hard copy paper that I'm just going to go kicking and screaming to let go of. When they start moving into this digital workflow on the front of the house, can you talk about maybe obstacles or hurdles that you see some of your offices as they're onboarding run into, and maybe
Yeah.
solutions for helping them when they're looking at something like this?
Sure. Yeah, so you had mentioned we've got a bunch of flexibility. We've tried to introduce all these settings to make it so that you can customize it for the office. Every single office that we've seen is slightly different. It's crazy how many combinations of stuff you can come up with. But along with adding these settings comes a little bit of additional complexity in the configuration side of things. And some people like to be 100% in control. They want to get in there and make sure that they like tinkering with it and getting it to exactly what they want it to look like, behave, etc. We try to make it as intuitive as possible, but the configuration side is a little bit complex. And so what we do to try to help curb that is we offer complimentary setup. And of course, we want these people to succeed with our product, and we want to set it up in accordance. We basically just ask them to send all of their forms and what they currently use to us, and we port it all over and try to replicate as best we can what they're currently using. We get the settings all tweaked and adjusted, just have a little conversation with them, make sure that those sliders are going to adhere to the down payment rules and monthly rules and such that they want to incorporate. They still have the ability to go in there and adjust anything that they want to, but we try to lay the groundwork for them so that it's going to be as easy as possible for them, because we definitely don't want to limit the flexibility and customization and personalization that they have, because then it's not going to be able to look and feel the way that they want it. So it's a double-edged sword, but that's definitely occasionally an obstacle, is just, the complexity that's there, but that's why we go ahead and do the framework for them to start with. And then they can, if they want to, they can take it from there. If they want us to continue maintaining it, that's fine as well.
Wonderful.
Another one, I guess, is just, the switch itself, making that leap. Change is hard. And I know I get comfortable with whatever I'm familiar with, and I don't necessarily want to change. We definitely see that with offices, especially if it's something where the doctor wants to go this direction and maybe they don't yet have staff buy-in. So that definitely presents an additional hurdle for us to try to convince the staff that, hey, this really is going to help you. But there is the little learning curve that's in the beginning. We've now set it up for them, but then we provide training, like tutorial videos that they're short, to the point. They can go through those at their leisure. And then, of course, we're here. We have phone lines and emails that we try very hard to get back within a couple hours. We know that sometimes people are there with a patient right then, and especially if they're in their trial and they're brand new to it, they might be freaking out. And so we want to help them as quickly as possible. So I guess most people say it's intuitive, easy to use, but there are those that everybody just has a different savvy for technology and different affinity for it. And we definitely have a lot of best friends who we talk with every day, their first week or two, because they've got a lot of questions, and that's fine. That's why we're here. We want them to succeed. So we're going to be as available as they need us to be.
Yeah, that's great. And, that again, one of the things I've loved about you guys is I have been in an office where we've had to make a call and you've picked up and, all right, help us. we got an issue and we need help. I know something that I have seen that has really helped my offices when they are onboarding and getting things set up is I can think of, I'll say two things actually, is really having a good understanding of what your fees are. Because if we're going to plug this in on the back end and you think about, you've got this brain behind this sheet that's going to be able to configure all these things. And I've definitely seen it where offices have not been prepared with knowing, okay, if it's this treatment, do I know exactly what my fee is? If I've got this, what's my fee going to be? And I've found that if they're just prepared, have sat down and been like, okay, I've got a full treatment, level 1, 2, and 3. Here are my different fees for that. If they have that going in, it's going to make setting up a lot easier versus
no doubt about it.
On the fly. Oh, I didn't even think about this treatment. Oh, the doctor just said we're going to do this. We don't have that plugged in. How do I put that in? And then the other thing that I have noticed that has really helped a lot with my clients, again, being ready to go, is if they are having insurances. And they have insurances that they're participating with, and they've got discounts that they have to be giving due to those insurances, making sure that you've got the most up-to-date fees and you know what those discounts are supposed to be. Because again, I feel like a lot of times we've got one or two people in the office that may know that, but sometimes the people who are setting this up surprisingly don't know. It's like the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing. And then you get in there and your TC's, this discount isn't right. This isn't what I thought it was supposed to be. So I think just having a good understanding of that, I have found for my clients really helps them just maybe make that transition a little bit easier and not run into the, this doesn't work. It's not figuring the right discounts when more than likely, it's probably user error, unfortunately, on the back end as far as getting it set up correctly. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah. A lot of times it's whoever has time is the one who's talking to us, giving us the information, not necessarily the one who's going to be using it or who has all of the insider information, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. So as we start to wrap up here, what are maybe some of your top pieces of advice for practices looking to implement maybe a digital slider, e-forms, e-signature even?
Yeah. So regardless what you're going to use for any of those, I'd say walk before you run, meaning get familiar with the software, whether it's ours, something else, it doesn't really matter. You want to practice with it on a fake patient before you go into a new patient consultation and just wing it. You're going to get that deer in the headlights look, and you're going to all of a sudden forget how to talk. So just practice with whether it's art tutorials or whatever training materials you have. Just go ahead and practice. Go through a couple, like I said, fake patients, and make sure you know what the workflow looks like so that you know what to expect whenever you're actually in that scenario where somebody's basing their treatment decision off of your presentation. And then I guess the other one would be just double checking your work. So like you said, you don't always know the fees off the top of your head, and that's fine because they are in Orthodox Pro or a spreadsheet. They're there, but you still want to have some idea of what their out-of-pocket portion is going to look like, just as a double check that you've put stuff in. And especially if you are doing this digitally now, you're going to have to, in some way, you've got to deliver this into the hands of the patient, whether that's a phone number, an email address. I always say double check that specifically, because it will not get to the patient if the number is typed wrong or the email is wrong. And you just save so much time and frustration on the side of the patient when you've said, oh, I sent it to you. You didn't get it? Oh, you should check again. It's probably more like it was mistyped. So just double check, make sure that's good. Of course, you can always go in there and edit it, but it saves headaches up front if you just take that extra 5 seconds and make sure that everything was typed correctly.
Oh, good advice. So I have to know, are there any new things coming? Are we going to be the first to know anything for the future? By now, we all know I talk to a lot of doctors and give advice to practices in every stage of their life cycle. And one question my docs ask all the time is, who do you recommend for marketing to attract more new patients from the internet? My answer? Easy. I have been recommending Mary Kay Miller and her team at Kaleidoscope for the better part of a decade. Why? They are thorough, professional, and transparent. Kaleidoscope Digital Marketing is who you want to talk to because they understand how to market in the orthodontic world, and they offer tools that are affordable and easy to use. I'm telling you, if you're looking to step up your digital presence, Kaleidoscope should be your first call. Go to contactkl.com to request your free digital marketing consultation. That's contactkl.com. We all know running and growing an orthodontic practice isn't easy, and technology is supposed to help you, but oftentimes your practice management software doesn't. Some of them are even clunky and need lots of third-party add-ons. That's why I recommend Greyfinch to my startup and existing clients, because Greyfinch is different. Greyfinch is an all-in-one web-based platform that saves you time and boosts your client base, productivity, and bottom line, with no downloads or third-party software needed. It even has tools you can't find anywhere else, like televisits, two-way email and text messaging, a patient self-service hub, and much more. Want to see how it can grow your practice? Visit greyfinch.com/Jill Allen and see why countless leading practices have made the switch.
Yes, we've got lots of fun enhancements on our roadmap. The biggest one, most exciting in my opinion, is processing payments. So we're still doing the legwork. It's not done yet, but we are in the process of whenever somebody is committing to treatment, they're signing everything. We want to be able to take that down payment, especially. It'll just go to the office. And then once people have actually put some sort of money down, it just really increases the chance that they're actually starting treatment. They can sign stuff and they can still ghost you and walk away. But when they put money down, it's a little bit different. So we really want to be able to do that. And we are working towards that. That's the biggest enhancement that I'm just super excited about. But another one that I think people will really like is customized reporting. So we have a dashboard. It's got some basic stats, analytics on it. There's a lot of categories of patients you can drill down into to see who fits that category. But it's all stuff that we are providing you and we think you want, as opposed to somebody, especially now, it's the beginning of a brand new year. You might be looking at last year and want to know, okay, how many people actually utilized that kind of treatment? Or how many people did we extend this particular discount to? How many had this kind of insurance? So just a whole bunch of different things that might determine which way you're going to, as an office, be moving forward. It would be helpful if they could just pick a time frame, pick exactly what numbers they want to see, and then we spit it out. We've got so much data and we want them to be able to use that. So we have a little bit right now, but we want it to be customized, and that we are working on that right now as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited for both of those enhancements. I completely agree with you on if patients can sign and then give their down payment, put a little money towards that treatment, it is very unlikely that they're not going to start. And again, it goes back to that. We've got a 50% chance that we're going to get them back into the office once they leave. So if we can eliminate as many roadblocks as possible to get those patients to yes from their couch, let's do it. And I think that that's right in line with that. So I will be very excited when I see that one come out. And again, I'm a data geek. The more I think that just in general, we can know about our businesses and even the things like conversion ratios to treatment plans to, you might even start to determine if you're a busier office using it. Hey, I've got one TC that converts better than another with certain treatment plans or whatnot. There maybe could be some different things as you guys are customizing there. So I'm excited about that. I can't wait.
Yes.
I can't wait to see all of that come to fruition. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, they want to, they're like, you know what? Paper is in the past. We are moving forward with our digital workflows in the front of our house now. What's the best way that they can reach out and get started?
Yeah, absolutely. orthodocsPRO.com. That's the website. And me specifically, you are more than welcome to reach out to me my email or phone. My email's it's M as in Mandy, Huber, Huber, at orthodocsPro. The docs is DOCS, just hey docs, pro.com. Our office number is 708.
Perfect. All right. As we finish up here, you probably know this, but I like to finish everything with a little speed round so people can get to know you just a little bit better. Are you ready for the speed round?
Hit me.
Okay, here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, all the way.
All right. Do you have a favorite book?
I do. A Wrinkle in Time. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. They actually turned it into a movie. The movie's a little strange, but the book is awesome. I love the book.
Oh, that
would definitely be the one.
I haven't heard that title in a long time, and I do know
I've got 3 different copies. I love it. Can't wait till my girls are old enough for me to read it with them.
How about a favorite outdoor activity?
Okay, so I'm going to say hiking, but loosely. We're more like nature trails, not a diehard hiker by any means. Me and my family, we love going out and the scenery, climbing some hills, not mountains, but seeing some wildlife. We love that kind of thing. It's a lot of fun.
That's wonderful. If I could be out on a trail doing whatever, just outside, that's my happy place as well, for sure. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would that be?
Okay, don't laugh. Gymnastics. I love gymnastics. Always been a humongous fan, and I did it for a while in junior high, but obviously that didn't go anywhere. But I just think it's amazing what they can do with their bodies flipping all around.
For sure. And then last one, best piece of advice you've ever received?
It's that one about learning to dance in the rain. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, but learning to dance in the rain. There's always storms, there's always problems, but it can apply to anybody. Learning to be happy and counting your blessings and finding the good in whatever your circumstances are. I just think it's a great piece of advice that everybody can benefit from.
Yeah, for sure. Hold on to that one. Absolutely. Mandy, it has been wonderful having you on the show. And thank you so much for what you guys are doing out in our ortho community. I could not say enough about how much I stand behind Orthodox Pro, and just thank you.
Thank you so much, Jill. We really appreciate that. You guys have been an outstanding partnership that we made, obviously, many moons ago. And I look forward to continuing that. And yes, I will definitely be showing you those new upgrades as we have them.
Sounds wonderful. All right. Until next time. See ya.
All right.